Good morning and welcome to today's follow-up webinar for the preparation of the Overseas Trade Fair's participation to FIDAE 2018. I hope you can all hear me. I think we're just experiencing a small technical issue, but I believe you can all hear me, and so we'll get underway. So today's webinar will be hosted by myself, Jean-Jacques Lannes, and my colleagues from the Overseas Trade Fairs team, Marco Bridgeford and Marco Bucaille. During the webinar, by default, you'll all be muted, and we will take any questions that you have via the text box on the right-hand side of your webinar screen. Please don't hesitate to introduce those as we go, and we can then take those questions as the presentation unfolds. We'll also unmute you all at the end of each section of the webinar just to do a brief Q&A as we progress through the presentation rather than waiting till the end for all questions. There'll also be a Q&A at the end of the presentation. In terms of the agenda, we will start with an overview of the exhibition week. We presented a first one at the pre-departure briefing a month ago, and now have a few more details to add with, including for the opening day, the networking session that has been set up, and a few more details on the matchmaking sessions. We'll then go into logistics and practicalities. We have further details on the booths set up on our European pavilion and for the customized services. We'll also look then at the matchmaking process and the progress on that. You have all received your long lists and are expected to have provided feedback to us on those for us to start the actual setup of meetings. We'll go over that process briefly. We'll also look at a few of the promotion recommendations that we've made to you in terms of gaining visibility at FIDAE, and then next steps up until the FIDAE Trade Fair, and we'll open the floor for any final questions at the end of the session. So in terms of the exhibition week, I'll perhaps let Marco run us through the latest updates of the agenda.
Good morning all. So as you can see, the FIDAE agenda will go from Monday the 2nd up to the 8th, with the fair starting on the 3rd. So we expect you to arrive on the 2nd of April, because in the afternoon you'll receive your badges and you'll check on your booth to see if everything, the final preparations are okay. And in the afternoon or in the evening, we've suggested also to grab an informal drink so we can all get to know each other a bit better. Then the following day, the fair will officially start, and there's an inauguration that will take place at 10 until 12. And then straight after that, we have a full day event, which starts off with a conference, followed by a quick networking lunch where you can meet other people and other companies. And then there'll be bilateral meetings in the late afternoon. Then on Wednesday and Thursday, it's a general day in the office. It'll just be the exhibitions, and you can start meeting with other counterparts as established beforehand. And then on the Friday, there's going to be in the morning a workshop organized by the BBB. And then in the afternoon, there's also, followed up by the previous days, also an exhibition and the meetings. Then Saturday and Sunday is completely optional. If you've decided to stay, that's fine. The main event is only the air exhibition, but in case you still have some meetings that you weren't able to schedule prior to that, that's still a great opportunity for you to meet your counterparts then. And then once the fair finishes, which finishes at 5 p.m., we suggest you to leave Santiago then. To go further into detail in the agenda, here you can see a breakdown of what happens on the first day. So as I mentioned before, there's the inauguration in the morning, and then the conference will be divided into different sectors. You'll have a welcome word by the Colonel, CEO of FIDAE, and then there will be different counterparts present, such as the head of the European Union delegation to Chile, representatives from Eurochile, and then different spokespersons from EU initiatives in Chile. And then at the end of it, there is the case study for EU companies in Chile. And this could be an opportunity for at least two of you to present a slot. And if you're interested in this, please let us know. There'll be the selection process is quite strict, so it's a first come, first served basis. Please let us know, and then we'll get back to you with the logistics to this. And then, yeah, so the lunch will also take place in the same hall where the conference takes place, and then the meetings take place at the EU pavilion. Same again here. It's a quicker breakdown. The days are dedicated just to the meetings, and there you can see where to go. And then on a Friday, as I mentioned, the first part of the day will be a workshop, and as you can see, it's divided into different sectors with an overview of the program, network opportunities, and IP protection in Chile. And then in the afternoon, the follow-up to the meetings. And the conference, just bear in mind, is optional. In case, if you want to go, you feel free to go. If you have meetings, stick to that, to the schedule you have.
So with that, we've covered the agenda of the trade fair. I'll open up the floor at this stage to any first questions on that agenda that you may have. Any questions from the audience on the agenda of the trade fair? I think we've had a few questions typed in. So we've had a question on the number of badges. That actually pertains to the next section. What we will have by default is 2 badges per SME. So what we would like you to do is, if you have more than 2 people coming to the exhibition for your SME, please let us know and we'll check for additional badges. We should be able to get those, but please let us know if that's the case. And we'll cover that in the next section, but we would like you to let us know who is coming from your SME to the trade fair in the company tracker. And for the badges, you actually have to log those in on FIDAE's online platform. So we'll come back onto that point in the next section. So we've got a question on the agenda of Tuesday. So Tuesday is not optional for the EU-Chile conference and networking lunch. We ask you to be there because this is essentially an EU event done for yourselves and other European stakeholders. And so, you know, we should be present as the European delegation at FIDAE from 12:30 until the lunch networking session. You can skip the official inauguration if you so wish, and have meetings set up, for instance, at that time. But as said, the EU-Chile International Conference and the Overseas Trade Fairs Networking Lunch, you're expected to attend. And just on that, note that those will be good networking opportunities. There'll be high-level attendees, governmental attendees from the Chilean side. There'll be many stakeholders invited to the networking lunch as well. We've got about 100 people coming. And so that should be a nice opportunity for you to meet both governmental and private sector stakeholders. So do take advantage of that. Another question is on whether the badges allow entrance to the conference. So that is the case for the EU-Chile International Conference. And the networking lunch, of course. There are a number of conference tracks at FIDAE which are additional paid conference events. So on a case-by-case basis, you may be able to attend certain conferences, but not others unless you have paid specifically for access to those. So the badge by default gives you access to the full exhibition other than certain paid conferences. Okay, so we are now, I think, covered in terms of the questions on this section and can then proceed into section 2 on the logistics and practicalities, which I'll let Marco cover for now.
Hello, everyone. I'll cover now the session on logistics and practicalities. Hold on for a second. We have a technical issue with the webinar. You should now be able to all see the slide on the logistics and practicalities. Hopefully. So, as mentioned before, regarding your flights and accommodation, we invite you to arrive in Santiago by the 2nd of April. Please note that all EU passport holders are allowed to visit Chile without a visa for up to 90 days, but make sure that you check with your embassy first so that you don't have any issues while when arriving in Santiago. Also, as mentioned before, there are 2 different dates. We ask you to stay in Chile until the 6th of April, and you're also welcome to stay until the 8th for the extended duration if you're interested in staying over the weekend and benefit from the 2 extra days of exhibition and air show. Please also note that standard European Commission rules apply to flights. Therefore, we only economy flights are eligible for reimbursement. If you decide to fly business, we invite you to provide us with the equivalent price in economy so that we're able to reimburse your flight. Of course, flights are eligible for reimbursement under the customized services, such as well as accommodation. And I'll now cover the different hotels that we have suggested you for your stay in Santiago. So you can find here the list of hotels. Of course, we do recommend you to stay very, very close to the airport to avoid any traffic jam in the morning and be able to be at the exhibition on time. So here is the list of suggested hotels. If you decide to stay in another hotel, please inform us beforehand so that we can include this in the reimbursement process and that everything runs smoothly. But of course, these are recommended hotels by the organizers and with affordable prices located very close to the airport. So this is something to bear in mind when choosing your hotel. Please book as soon as possible. Hotels are starting to be fully booked, so it's important that you take this into consideration. In terms of manual and badges registration, so first of all of you should register under the FIDAE portal. Mr. Patricio Azevedo, the organizers of the event, has sent you your login credentials to that FIDAE portal. So through that portal, you'll be able to register your badges, your delegate badges. Also, it's important that you fill in your contact details on that portal and your company's description, I think. Separate to that, in addition to that, we want to keep track of all the participants and all the attendees to the event on our side. So we invite you to fill in our company tracker with your details and more specifically your phone number. Indeed, we will use it to create a WhatsApp group during the event, and therefore please fill in this company tracker as soon as possible. You have the link on the slide as well that we share after the webinar. Of course, if you haven't yet received your login credentials by Patricio Azevedo, do let us know as soon as possible, and we'll ask him to send those back to you so that you're able to register yourself on the FIDAE portal. Same thing for the company tracker. You should all should all have access to it by now. But if you do not, we'll add you to the tracker and make sure that you're able to update your details and the names of your representatives attending the event. Regarding the floor plan. So as we've shared that with you during the briefing in Brussels, but just to remind you that we'll be exhibiting in Hall A. So the booth will be A48. So it's right on the right of this slide. And we'll have a 105 square meter pavilion that is situated, as you can see here, circled in blue, next to the Business Beyond Borders pavilion, where you can also hold your business meetings. So you have two separate areas to hold your business meetings by default on our European pavilion. And if you need more space, you're more than welcome to use the matchmaking area of the Business Beyond Borders pavilion that is situated next to us. As you can see on this slide as well, many other large exhibitors are surrounding us. So it's a very good location in FIDAE exhibition ground. Yeah, this we've shared with you before, but this is a view of our pavilion. So each of you will have a more or less 5 square meter booth with your own counter, and you are also, of course, welcome to customize your booth. We've shared the details and the dimensions of each of the graphics before, and I will come back to you on this in a second. But just to let you know, so we have our main reception counter at the front, and then each of the 15 SMEs are surrounding the pavilion. And in the center, we have high tables and a coffee corner, of course, to hold meetings. But most of all, we invite you to hold your meetings at your individual booth, where you can show your demos and have all the brandings of your company around you. So that's best for marketing reasons. Here is another view of the floor plan. So each of you has been allocated a booth in alphabetical order, so that we avoid any issues. But so if you want me, I can pause for a second here so you're able to see exactly where your company will be exhibiting. And of course, we'll share that with you again after the webinar so that you can take note of your booth number. And of course, I also wanted to highlight that we have a storage room. So here the name, the bodega, where you can store suitcases or boxes if you are shipping any items to Santiago and need to store your boxes. You're welcome to store those in the storage room, situated right behind the coffee counter. It will be a locked room, and all your counters are also lockable counters. So if you want to store a few items inside the counters, you're more than welcome to do so. But of course, no highly valuable items can be stored in those, since they're quite easily breakable. But just to let you know that you're able to store items in your own booth as well. So in terms of booth customization, as we mentioned before, the OTF program is covering and is offering to each of you 2 graphics. So one is the counter graphic, where you can see that you can see on the right of this slide. The entire graphic is customizable, so none of the logos, European logo nor the OTF logo shown on that slide will be present on your graphics. So it's entirely up to you to customize it. You have the dimensions again here on this slide, so 90 centimeters by 97 centimeters by 92 centimeters. And we do invite you to send this graphic to Patricio Azevedo and Milena Urbina. You have their contact details on this slide by the 15th of March. So we've shared this information with you before, and it's coming up. It's just in a few days. So please do send that graphic to them as soon as possible, alongside the second graphic that we offer you, which is the wall graphic. So each company has 2 side walls or 2 back walls, depending on the place your booth is. But we offer one graphic for free, with the dimensions again here on this slide, so 97 by 242. And if you're interested in ordering a second graphic, you're more than welcome to do so. This is eligible for reimbursement under the program, but will have to be paid separately by yourself upfront. The second graphic has the same dimensions as the first one. So if you're interested in having 2 graphics, send them to Patricio Azevedo again by the 15th of March. If you decide only to go for the free option, so 1 graphic and 1 counter graphic, you're also welcome to stick your own promotional material on the second wall, as long as you do not damage it. So no nails or nothing, just plain tape. Of course, both of these walls are fully customizable, and make sure that you follow strictly the dimensions on this slide to make sure that there isn't any issues when printing the graphics. Those should be, of course, in really high dimensions, but I'm sure your graphic designers are aware of that. Please send those by PDF, in PDF format, to make sure that there isn't any issues when printing the graphics. Patricio Azevedo and Milena will take care of the printing and of the sticking of the graphics onto the walls. So once you reach Santiago and check your booth on the day before the fair, everything will be set up. But you have the opportunity to check that it's according to what you've ordered, and if there are any issues, they make sure to reprint those in time for the exhibition before the exhibition opens. If you're interested in ordering any additional items, so every booth comes with 2 stools, 1 table by default. And if you want to order anything else, additional stools or TVs, those can be ordered directly through Patricio and Milena as well. So you have here on the slide the different prices for each of the items. If you're interested in any other item, please reach out to them, of course, as well. Those are eligible for reimbursement under the customized services. So these have to be paid upfront by yourself, such as the second wall graphic, but can be eligible for reimbursement under the 1,000 euro envelope that you have to cover expenses under the program. So any questions should be sent to Patricio and Milena. And please bear in mind the important deadline of the 15th of March. If you order after that date, either the items will not be in stock anymore, or you may have to pay extra charges for the late order. So it's very important to have this deadline in mind. I think I'll pause here for a second and check if you have any questions on the services I just covered. I can see Enrico question regarding the format. So yeah, please do send those in PDF. That's the easiest. Yeah, do send those in PDF to Patricio. Rajan, your question about the dimension of the second graphic. So you just to make it 100% clear, and I'll go back to the slide so that everyone can see the different dimensions. So you have 2 wall graphics that have the exact same size, 97 centimeters by 242 centimeters. Those are the back wall. And then you have another graphic, which is the counter graphic that you can see on the right of your slides. That is, of course, smaller than the back wall because it's just to cover the counter of your booth. So, of course, 2 different dimensions. You have for free and by default 1 wall graphic and the counter graphic, and you're welcome to order a second wall graphic that has the same dimensions of the first wall graphic. So I hope that clears everything about the dimensions. Of course, we'll send those back to you, the slides again back to you, and we've sent you already the leaflet with all the dimensions. So please refer to those when designing your graphics and sending those to the organizers. I think I also covered the question regarding attaching anything else to the second wall. Yes, please, you're welcome to do, but do not damage the wall. Otherwise, you have to pay for this expense. What's the length of the counter? The third dimension. We can provide this to you. I don't have the exact dimensions right here. It should be. It's large enough to fit a laptop, of course. We can send the dimensions back to you after the webinar with the follow-up email, so that you know the exact dimension of the counter. The cost for a second panel. Unfortunately, the organizers have not sent that to us. So please feel free to send a quick email to Patricio and Milena. They'll be able to let you know what's the cost of the second graphic. It shouldn't be too expensive, but we're not able to receive that information from them in time. Yes, we will share the full dimensions with you with the follow-up email, so that you are aware of the exact dimensions of the counter. Any questions on that? Yeah, I have a few. I would like to know if the TV can be mounted on the second wall. let me check with that internally. Considering the design of the booth, I think it will have to be mounted on a stand because of the material of the booth. But please do, you can request that to Azevedo, but I'm pretty sure that you have to order support. But please do check with them, because it's possible that they can make it have it mounted on the wall if you ask them early enough. So please do send them an email, and they'll be able to let you know if it's possible. I had yes, you're of course welcome to bring your roll-up, any separate promotional material that you want. That's more than welcome, and we invite you to do so. Another question on the counter graphic. No, there isn't any European logo on the counters. Everything is fully customizable. The logos you see on the slides, they were just made by the designer for you to see what it would look like with logos, but everything is plain, and it's up to you to customize it with your own logo. So by default, those are entirely white, and we invite you to customize them with your company branding, and there won't be any overseas trade fair logo nor the European flag logo. I think I answered everybody's questions. Anyway, we can, if you have further questions, we can cover them in the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. But if not, I'll pause here for a second, and we'll start the matchmaking process topic. Jean-Jacques will cover this session for you.
Thanks, Margot. So on the matchmaking process, in terms of the timeline that was presented at the pre-departure briefing in Brussels, as you saw, we sent the long lists to you on the 2nd of March. So we're hoping for your feedback by the 9th of March. I think most of you have sent that now, but a couple have not yet. Five SMEs have not yet sent that feedback. So we would ask that you absolutely send that to us today if possible, as we need that to start sending requests to the counterparts for meetings. If you're unable to send the feedback today, we'll basically start to contact the counterparts on the basis of our provided long list. We also asked for your feedback on the call timing for the matchmaking call with our Chilean colleagues, who were CC'd on the mail with the long list sent to you. So that's also now overdue if you didn't provide for the 5 of you. And in fact, for 15 of you, we understand that you still need to provide confirmation of the timing for the matchmaking call. So on the next slide, we have the proposed times that we had sent. Please come back to us today to confirm the timings as proposed here. As you see, the schedule is quite tight over next week, and we would need your confirmations to be able to secure the timing for those calls with our colleagues in Chile. Important to note that because of the time difference with Chile, we can only hold those calls in the afternoons. So please do bear that in mind in terms of availabilities if you have to propose a different time slot to us. Now, besides providing your feedback on the long lists, which of course we'll use to set up the meetings, we'd like you to take a number of additional actions in terms of the matchmaking, particularly to ensure that your profile on the B2Match matchmaking platform, which is being used for FIDAE for the first time this year, is the best profile possible, because this is important in terms of the way counterparts will see your company's information. And so anyone interested in attending FIDAE should land on that B2Match matchmaking platform if they're thinking of setting up meetings. And obviously, if your profile is not up to date or doesn't reflect the best information you can put forward in terms of your SME, then that will not be optimal. Please also look for potential counterparts on that B2Match matchmaking platform. It's there for you as well. So obviously, you know your businesses better than we do, and we will do our utmost to matchmake for you. But if you are able to identify relevant counterparts, you have access to the platform and can request meetings as well. And we do encourage you to go on there and do that proactively. As we also mentioned at the pre-departure briefing, please take contact with your embassy and Chamber of Commerce to get additional support in terms of matchmaking for the Chilean market. As they will be more than happy, or should be more than happy, to support you in that process. Additionally, in terms of supporting our Chilean colleagues in reaching out to counterparts to set up meetings for you during FIDAE, we'd like to request that you send any additional relevant information that you might have and material which clearly explains your products and services and provides an overview of those for potential counterparts. We are obviously or have rather sent them the material linked to that was presented at the pre-departure briefing. But if you have additional material that you think would be useful in helping our colleagues to present you in the best possible way to potential counterparts, please send that through to Macarena Larea and Claudia Bascunan, our Deloitte colleagues in Chile, who are taking care of the matchmaking for this mission. So with that, I think we have the main actions covered in terms of matchmaking, and we'll again pause just for questions that you may have on the matchmaking process in particular. So in terms of material to be sent to the colleagues in Chile, there's no limit. I would say obviously the crisper and more concise the material is, the easier it will be for them to go through that and ensure that they're able to take it into account in their matchmaking efforts with Chilean and Latin American counterparts, but there's no limit. So if you think that there are, various presentations that would be useful to them for that effort, please feel free to send those through. So the B2B matchmaking calls have been scheduled as per this slide, which we'll show again, and we'll send this presentation through to you after this webinar. So you will have those once again. They've been sent previously, but we will send those yet again. And so they take place in the week of 19th March, that's next week, from Monday through to Friday in the afternoons, to allow for our Chilean colleagues to attend, bearing in mind that they are a number of hours behind us. Currently 4, and during the trade fair, I think it will be 6 or 7 hours behind us. So please do come back to us today with confirmation of your slot or proposed alternative, again in the afternoons, if you're unable to make the slot that we have proposed. I'm just checking for additional questions there may be on the matchmaking. I don't think there are any at this stage, so we'll go into the next section, which Marco can run us through in terms of promotion opportunities.
Okay, thank you, Jean-Jacques. So in terms of the promotion opportunities at FIDAE, as we discussed at the pre-departure briefing last month, you can first check the EASME website for information, and then you can use different social media accounts such as Twitter, LinkedIn. If you use, for instance, Twitter, please tweet, retweet any of your experiences using the hashtag of the Horizon 2020 SME over trade fairs, and use the hashtag SME instrument, because on that basis we can also share that with our followers, and that gives you further attention. In terms, if you would like any promotional material, please get back to us and we'll try and our best to forward it, so that once you arrive in FIDAE, you'll have that sorted. Regarding that last point, given that we're going to Chile and it's a Spanish-speaking country, if you want, it would be best if you sent the material to us in Spanish. Obviously, I know that there are a few companies that are Spanish, so this shouldn't be an issue. However, for the remaining ones, you can either translate it yourself or we can help you with this process. Regarding the showcase and catalog, obviously you have sent these to us after the pre-departure briefing, and we have now reviewed the content. In case you haven't, in case you'd like some of the content to be modified, please let us know today, because obviously the submission deadline was way overdue, and we are in a process of processing this information and sending it to our Chilean counterparts, which will help them as well with the matchmaking process. And so please let us know if there are any modifications needed. In addition to that, there will be printed versions of your showcase and catalogs, and these will be distributed to the visitors at your booths and at the reception fair during the trade. And in addition, there will be disseminated electronic versions among the relevant stakeholders. In addition, we will provide you with some OTF gadgets and company promotional videos. So you'll have a USB stick and a pen, and this can be particularly useful when you're meeting a customer, or during a meeting. You can just show them your material, and that can give you extra potential promotion. In terms of the promotional video, we touched upon this at the departure briefing in Brussels last month. So we ask you to send a video by this Friday, and this should be 2 minutes long, and it should include the EU flag. In case you are not able to provide a video, we ask you to send us an animated PowerPoint, and then we'll customize that into a video. In terms of the software, we recommend OpenShot, or if you have any other prior experience in any other software, please feel free to use. And the key thing here is that it should really display the EU flag in the promotional video. Right. This is it in terms of the promotion opportunities. We'll pause now and see if there are any questions regarding this. So in regards to including the EU flag, can it just be an image at the beginning or at the ending? Yes, that's the case. It just has to be a quick mention. As we mentioned, the deadline would be on Friday. In case you have any requests, we can be flexible upon the Monday. If you have further information about this, you can drop us an email, and maybe we can schedule a call about this. Okay, perfect. As far as I'm concerned, these are the questions have been answered, and we'll now move on to the next step.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Marco. So the next section is on next steps up until the trade fair. So with a little less than a month to go until FIDAE, please find an overview of these next steps and important deadlines on the slide. As we've been through in today's webinar, there's a number of urgent deadlines this week, today and in the next days. So we do urge you to take those into account. We'll just run through the deadlines on this slide. So in terms of the travel and accommodation and practicalities, do please book your flights and hotel as app. Have you should you not yet have done that, as those will only increase in price as we get closer, and please register your badges today on the FIDAE portal. So we'll send out the slides with the link. If you haven't received your login to the portal from Patricio Acevedo and the FIDAE organizers, please let us know today so that we can make sure that that is corrected. And then, as well as registering your badges on the portal, please let us know on the company tracker. You find the link in the slides as well, who is attending from your company, just to make sure that in terms of any additional badges needed, etc., we are clear. On the matchmaking and promotion, for the 5 SMEs who have not yet provided your feedback on the long list, please do that today. And for all of you who have not yet confirmed the matchmaking call timing next week, please let us know today as well, so that we can ensure that the schedule of those is clear. Same thing on the showcase and catalog. We ask for any final feedback today to make sure that we can send out a version that is as optimal as possible in terms of promoting you. Please note, as was mentioned, that this will be disseminated as of tomorrow, and that will be disseminated both in English and in Spanish. So hence the importance of sending the input today, so we can ensure that any translations as well are finalized over the day. The video for the promotional screen, which we'll have at the reception of our pavilion, our EU pavilion, should be provided by each of you as well by end of this week, 16th March, Friday, with, as was mentioned, if absolutely necessary, a bit of flexibility till next week, Monday. In terms of customized services, for the booth customization, the graphics for your counter and wall panel that is offered by the program should be provided today, by 15th March, which is Thursday. You have the dimensions in the slides, so please provide those. And please also get back to Patricio Acevedo and Milena Urbina, if you would like the second wall panel to be branded as well. Again, that will be covered under the customized services, should you so wish. And then in terms of the customized services reimbursement process, as was mentioned at the pre-departure briefing, you will first pay for any services that you take, and then invoice us after the trade fair. So that's as of the 9th of April, once FIDAE is finished, up until the 6th of June, following which we will then process all the invoices received and reimburse you within a month. So that's by the 6th of July, 2018. So those were the next steps and important deadlines in the process. As said, you have a little less than a month to go, and please let us know if you're struggling with any point in particular, and we're more than happy to support. For those of you who are interested, there are still a number of overseas trade fairs, missions, which are still open for applications. Those are the 3 that are presented on the slide here. So should you be interested in any of those, particularly as it also covers the transport sector broadly, the China International Industry Fair may be of interest to a number of you, with the application deadline by 25th May. So with that, we've covered the content for today's session. We hope that provided you the additional insights you needed in terms of finalizing your preparations for FIDAE. Should that not be the case, please feel free to ask us any additional questions you may have at this stage, and we'll do our best to answer them, if not immediately now, in the next days by email as well. So I open the floor once again to any questions from the audience on any of the sections we've covered or other points you may have. So, one question we've received in writing is as to whether the showcase and catalog material should be sent in Spanish. That's okay, we've covered the translation, so as long as you send us any updates in English, we will ensure that those are translated to Spanish.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hello, this is Maria from Terracom. I have a question about the badges. You mentioned that we are allowed 2 badges as exhibitors. Are we able to have some extra badges for our partners from Chile that we'll be attending to?
Yes. We've organized with the FIDAE organizers to have a number of visitor passes. I believe we have about 100 or so of those, and we'll be able to share those with you. If you're able to provide the details of your partners in Chile, we can have those processed accordingly.
Okay, so do I need to register them as exhibitors as well in the FIDAE in the platform?
Well, if they're visitors, then they would be just let us know their details, and we will have them added as visitors to the system, and they'll be able to receive visitor badges.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I have another question, actually.
Yes, sure.
So it's for VIP invitations. Are we entitled to VIP invitations for our clients? Can we send them some invitations? We had some of those in Typex in Dubai.
Yeah, by default, you will be able to invite them as visitors. So we don't by default have VIP in. If they are VIPs, as in very senior either officials or for instance from CEO or C-suite persons from large companies, then we can see with the organizers to do that. But by default, they'll be able to receive a visitor badge.
Okay, so how many visitor badges are we allowed for free to invite our clients to visit us?
By default, about between 5 to 7 per company. But if we need more, we can work with the organizers to obtain a few more.
Okay, 5 to 7. Thank you.
So we've had a few comments. We've had a few comments to review or requesting to review the Spanish translation of the showcase and catalog. We can send that just after this session, but again, any feedback must be received today to be included. So a question as well on the matchmaking calls has been typed in. So in terms of the matchmaking calls scheduled for next week, the idea is to discuss progress in terms of scheduling your meetings, pre-arranged meetings, and the status of those. So based on the long lists, our colleagues will be reaching out to counterparts to schedule meetings for FIDAE. It will be those requests that will be discussed during the status update, how they're going, if there's any specific feedback, and perhaps also just to allow for coordination with yourselves if you're scheduling additional meetings on your side, as we hope you're able to do, just to ensure that there is full clarity and that you're happy with the way things are progressing. I'm sorry, I believe I cut someone off who was about to ask a question. Please do ask your questions. Okay, so we've had another question typed in on the Copernicus program representatives. They will be attending indeed the EU-Chile conference on the Tuesday. So we can certainly try to forward any requests for meetings with them around that. And certainly, I believe the networking lunch will be an opportunity to network and meet the various representatives, EU representatives who are present on the Tuesday at the opening of FIDAE. Any other questions from the audience at this stage?
This is Enrico here. I have a question about the badges again. One is about, I accessed the FIDAE portal only a couple of days ago because they sent me the password and username just 2 days ago. But I saw that there is no badge in the list. So I am supposed to fill something in the portal to request 2 badges for us.
Indeed. So you should enter in the portal your details if you're attending, as we've understood, and the colleague who is attending with you, their details too, so that badges can be created for the 2 of you.
Yes, okay, because I just found a request of a button to request additional badges. There is a form which is also is not free. There is something like it is charged. I don't remember how many euros to additional badges. Anyway, I think that we can solve this problem offline, not during this presentation. Okay. The second question is always about badges. Is as we will arrive on Tuesday morning on 3, just the opening. We are not able to arrive the day before. Can you send us a sort of map where the badges should be picked up? So we avoid to go browsing all around to find the place where the badges should be picked up.
Yes, we'll coordinate with the organizers to ensure that that's clear for you, so that you don't lose any time on Tuesday morning.
Yes, because I asked because I remember in GITEX in Dubai, we spent 45 minutes walking around to find the place where the badges were distributed. That's why I asked it. Okay.
Understood. We'll send you the details.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hi there, everyone. Yes,
Hi.
this is Nabil from Genter. Just wanted to make a quick question about the case study that might be an option for the companies that are going to FIDAE from the European Union. There is one person from Genter who has a long experience in the Brady world and who I believe could make a very valuable contribution in that time, in that case study. However, he is not fluent in English. He would have to do it in Spanish. Would that be all right, or should the case study be carried out in English?
That's something we can check with the organizers. I'm actually not sure because I believe that a number of other interventions may be in Spanish, for instance, during obviously the official inauguration, etc. That is something that we need to check. Allow us to get back to you on that. But please do note that we'll only be able to take a maximum of 2 SMEs for the case studies. So.
Sure.
If you're interested in that, please do send in the request because, as said, it will be on a first come, first served basis, and we can check indeed whether Spanish is okay and come back to you.
All right, many thanks.
Hello, this is Davide from Arcon. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Hi. I joined late because of a problem with my time zone. I'm in America and they changed the time. Will there be a recording of this seminar so that I can catch up?
Yes, there's a recording of it, and that will be available.
Okay, thank you very much. For example, I don't even know what is this case study. It was just discussed, so.
Indeed. So we'll provide you the recording. The case study is basically on the first day, the opening day of FIDAE. There is a conference which follows the official inauguration. And so all SMEs from the Overseas Trade Fairs program are asked to attend that conference, the EU-Chile International Conference, from 12:30 to 2. And as part of that, there are a number of speakers, but we also offer the possibility for a maximum of 2 SMEs from the program to present their case studies of EU companies' opportunities in Chile. So that's for the opening day, Tuesday, 3rd April. And there's also a networking lunch that follows that conference from 2 to 2:30. And the SMEs are expected to attend that as well. But again, all details will be provided in the recording.
Okay, and you said that only 2 companies can apply for these case studies, which means that only 2 companies can actually present their case studies, but everybody has to attend the whole program, correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Sure. Okay, we're just checking for any other questions. No other questions that have been typed in, I believe. If there are any other questions, please do feel free to ask them now. Okay, if there are no questions, then as time is almost up, we suggest to close the webinar now. And obviously, you can also send us emails with any further thoughts or questions that arise in the coming days. We look forward to your updates today and over the week. It will be a busy week, and we appreciate your efforts to make sure preparations run smoothly. And we wish you good luck in those preparations and look forward to seeing you in Santiago for FIDAE. So thanks a lot for your attendance today, and good luck with preparations to FIDAE. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Goodbye.